Right now on Denver 7 News at 8 o'clock on Local 3, neighbors are in shock after police find 5 people dead inside a Commerce City apartment. This morning, police are working to piece together exactly what happened.
Plus, some unique bidders want to buy the Broncos, how one group is hoping to use cryptocurrency to buy the team and inspire others.
And we have some fresh snow on its way to the mountains as temperatures are set to plummet across the metro. We're timing out big changes on the way on this Denver 7 Weather Action Day.
Right now, it's a calm start to the week, but hours from now, get ready to bundle up. Here's a look from Futurecast. Over the next several days, some areas could see up to 10 inches of snow.
You can tell that sun's already having a hard time breaking through the clouds. Our team is here to help you stay ahead of the storm. Katie is here tracking what's expected to be a busy day on the roads with a lot of people returning from the mountains. We want to start with meteorologist Lisa Hidalgo, though, as temperatures drop off a cliff tonight.
Yeah, and that snow's not going to help that drive later on today from the mountains. Right now, though, everything is nice and, well, quiet, and we're going to hit a high of about 50 degrees here in Denver right around 12 o'clock. I want to show you the timing of this change, and you'll see here on our hourly planner, we typically would hit our high between about 3 and 4 o'clock. By that point, we're going to be dropping down to near 40 and then down to near freezing between about 5 and 6. So that cold front's going to race through later on today and usher in some really cold air. Light snow will develop tonight, and by early Tuesday morning, we're going to be down in the single digits, down to near 0. We're going to see a chance for some snow off and on from tonight through Wednesday. We'll take a closer look at that, Katie, coming up here in just a few minutes. But yeah, right now the high country drive looks okay, but snow's coming. It'll pick up by this afternoon.
Oh, and places taking you live outside like Glenwood Canyon definitely can get treacherous, icy, snowpacked. So if you are taking the drive back down the hill or up into the mountains, be prepared for that snow Lisa was mentioning later on today. Right now, though, let's take you live to the map. We had one big crash, a rollover on I-25 northbound right at 58th Avenue. All lanes are open. That's since been clear, and traffic is pretty light here on this holiday. It's only 17 minutes it'll take you right now, southbound I-25 Northwest Parkway through Colfax. No major problems elsewhere. You can see 270 running pretty smooth. Some stop-and-go traffic just approaching I-70 there, and north and southbound I-25 through the DTC, Colfax to C-470, just about 14 minutes. Starting to see a little traffic westbound I-70, but the major jam will be later on today.
And to stay ahead of the storm, download the free Denver 7 Plus app to your cell phone or streaming device. We have a 24/7 weather stream there, also interactive radar and hour-by-hour forecast, and you can download it right to your Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, or Android device.
This morning, a Colorado community is coping with an unthinkable tragedy.
Yeah, police found 5 people dead inside a Commerce City apartment. An infant was also inside. That baby and another woman were rescued. We have team coverage, though, this morning, starting with Veronica Acosta with where this investigation stands, and it's pointing in a dangerous direction, Veronica.
It is, and police are still putting all of the pieces together this morning. The police tape, the officers, investigators that were here yesterday, they're gone this morning. So let's run you through exactly what we know. We know 3 women and 2 men were found dead inside of an apartment unit here at the North Range Crossings apartment complex. This is in Commerce City. Police found the 5 adults after being called around 3:45 yesterday afternoon. Still unclear exactly what led to the death of those 5 adults, but police did say they found substances that could be described as, quote, illicit narcotics inside one of the units. They said no hazardous gases were detected inside. 1 woman and that 4-month-old baby were also in the unit, but police did say both were okay. Commerce City Chief of Police Clint Nichols expressed how grateful he was those 2 were fine, but he also shared how tough of a situation this is going to be for that 4-month-old baby.
There are some people dead inside of an apartment and an infant lived. I hope the parents were not in there, but been doing this long enough, I would probably be safe to suggest that the parents probably were inside. And so for the infant, yeah, that's going to be a long time without parents.
And police did make it clear there's no threat to the public or to the community here as the investigation continues. Coming up in the next half hour, we hear from neighbors about how they're feeling this morning. We're live in Commerce City. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
All right, thank you, Veronica. Christian Lopez continues our team coverage. Christian, the district attorney says early indications show drugs might be the cause.
Yeah, definitely a very tragic situation. We spoke with District Attorney Brian Mason, who represents Commerce City. He was actually out on the scene last night. He says preliminary reports are showing that the 5 adults believed they were taking one drug, but it was actually fentanyl. Now, he says it's still too early to tell, but this is what early indications are showing. They do have their suspicions as to what drug they believe the adults thought they were taking, but they're not releasing that right now. One thing he did say loud and clear, though, is that no drug is safe.
Folks are taking drugs thinking they're cocaine or heroin or meth, even sometimes marijuana, certainly other opioids like drugs that people think are legal, and they're laced with fentanyl. And fentanyl is a killer, and it's a quick killer. And fentanyl is way throughout our community right now. It's all throughout the United States, and it is killing people who unsuspectedly think they're taking a different kind of drug.
And he says it's hard to track where the drugs are coming from, but they are looking into that. They are treating this as a criminal investigation. He says penalties for distribution need to increase to prevent this type of nightmare situation from happening. We are live in Commerce City this morning. I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
And we'll continue to update you on this developing story throughout the day. And now to the latest on the crisis with Russia over Ukraine. Russian forces are massed at the border, and the administration says they're on the brink of invading.
Well, then last night, word came in of a possible meeting between President Biden and Vladimir Putin. Here's ABC's Ian Pannell with the latest.
Overnight, a potential diplomatic breakthrough in the Ukraine crisis. President Biden agreeing in principle to meet with President Putin if an invasion doesn't happen. But the White House insisting Russia's still preparing to attack. U.S. officials telling ABC News they believe Russian tactical commanders have been told to be ready for orders to invade.
Everything we're seeing suggests that this is dead serious, that we are on the brink of an invasion.
U.S. officials raising the alarm further, writing to the UN that if they invade, Russia could target specific Ukrainians for assassination or prison camps, saying these targets include those who oppose Russian actions, journalists and anti-corruption activists, and vulnerable populations such as religious and ethnic minorities and LGBTQI plus persons. A late-night flurry of diplomatic activity by President Macron of France led to an agreement in principle for Biden and Putin to meet, though the details still to be discussed at a meeting between Secretary of State Blinken and Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov this week, again assuming no invasion happens. Meanwhile, Russia's announced its troops won't leave Belarus as originally planned, will now stay indefinitely because of the situation around Ukraine. And this weekend, Vladimir Putin overseeing a test firing of a nuclear-capable ballistic missile. Now more than 150,000 Russian troops are amassed on 3 sides of Ukraine. One U.S. official telling ABC News that number could be as high as 190,000. And 50% of those troops now in attack position.
If an attack comes, Mr. Putin will start with things like aerial attacks, cyber attacks, things that won't put his troops at risk. If that's not effective in bringing down the Ukrainian government, he's going to have to resort to ground invasion.
For years, Vladimir Putin sought to prevent Ukraine from moving closer to the west, invading Crimea in 2014 and supporting a pro-Russian rebellion in the east. And now, with several NATO members already sharing a border with Russia, Putin wants to make sure that Ukraine doesn't join the alliance, something the Kremlin has said is a red line.
Putin still sees Ukraine as part of the Soviet empire. He doesn't like that there have been discussions about Ukraine joining NATO. He doesn't like the democratization process. He likes to have that strategic buffer between Russia and NATO.
In eastern Ukraine, the government's battled Russian-controlled rebels since 2014, the region's home to a large ethnic Russian population. This is where shelling has intensified in recent days, as rebels there push unsubstantiated stories of attacks by Ukrainian forces, and US officials fearing Russia's using such claims to fabricate a pretext for an invasion. So the Kremlin responding this morning, saying it's premature to talk about a summit between Presidents Putin and Biden, although it certainly isn't ruling it out. It could be an opportunity, of course, to see whether or not Russia is serious about trying to find a diplomatic way out of this crisis. Meanwhile, more airlines suspending or limiting flights into Kiev at least until the end of the month. Ian Pannell, ABC News in Kiev, Ukraine.
Back here at home this week, a Douglas County court will start looking into a lawsuit against the Douglas County School Board. The lawsuit claims the board's conservative majority violated Colorado's open meeting laws in the days leading up to the firing of Superintendent Corey Wise. The law requires that any meeting of 3 or more elected officials be held publicly. The board members involved claim they never met as a group, only having one-on-one conversations and a series of phone calls before a vote on his termination. A group of cryptocurrency enthusiasts wants to buy the Broncos. The group is working on a Buy the Broncos DAO, which stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. The group includes a mix of attorneys, accountants, software developers, pro athletes, and at least one mathematician. The goal is to raise $4 billion in cryptocurrency in a very short amount of time. Governor Jared Polis says he's intrigued by it, though. The man leading the charge says he hopes the possible bid will encourage more DAOs to solve problems like hunger and homelessness.
A reminder to file your taxes. Why the Better Business Bureau wants you to do it sooner rather than later.
Also calling all thrill seekers, a new type of go-karting revs up in Colorado.